whole new vocabulary has suddenly and urgently started to dominate our daily business lives. Net zero, carbon neutral, ESG, and yes, even greenwashing are slapping our face almost every day. Welcome to this BVTV network trilogy coming to you from the UK studios of BizVision. I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. That new vocabulary is already starting to build its own mystique, and as usual in such circumstances, apparently weaving a web of complication around it. But the issues are important to your business, to you, your family, your people, the world. And as responsible businesses, we must all play our part. At BVTV Green Vision, we aim to bring you straightforward explanations and actions, which is why over 3 videos, I'm delighted to take you to meet the founder of Greener Energy Futures. Welcome, Simon Pine. Hello, Simon.
Hello, Malcolm. Lovely to be here today. Nice to see you.
Well, I'm so looking forward to talking to you because it's a very important subject matter, but it's been made complicated, and I'm hoping that our trilogy is going to be very straightforward for people. Simon, as I say, this is a vital subject area for every business, and I'm looking forward to a straight-talking, informative trilogy with you. Across the trilogy, in part 1, I want to chat to you about the essential knowledge businesses need. In part 2, the first steps they need to take in planning their journey. And in part 3, taking their journey on to continuing sustainability and reaping business benefits. So let's get started on episode 1. And let's assume our viewers or listeners are seeking to cut through the jargon and understand things like the 3 scopes. What's the essential knowledge every small business needs to know before they start planning?
Yeah, it's a really good question, isn't it? I think, and off the back of COP26, the United Nations Congress of Parties in Glasgow, it'll be probably in people's horizons to think about how they commit to environmental purpose. So I would say, I think the biggest thing to start with is to think about your state of ambition, your state of motivation. Who in the organization is behind transformation and making you a greener company or greener organization, and to what extent? People's ambitions can be really widely varied. There are people today saying they are net zero, i.e. and the impression they give is they're not emitting any carbon. And those organizations, they can be doing as little as simply buying a green energy tariff, which frankly does nothing. It's really largely what we call greenwashing. So there are organizations who make that statement. And there are ones who are radically transforming the organizations, where everybody from the top, people like Unilever, who are trying to change not just the way their operations emit carbon, but actually the way people use their products and the formulation of their products. That's radical transformation. And that involves the entire organization, not just one purchasing decision. So I think that is the place I would start at. I see 4 segments in the marketplace at the moment, and they're all legitimate. There are reasons that people exist in these. I would categorize them as being compliance-driven, being cost-driven, being customer-driven, and being committed. And I think those are a sliding scale where you get people who are just willing to do it because they're being told to. There's a lot of compliance regulations out there. People who are a step further and recognize it will save them money. People who are the next step up the ladder, where they see the benefits of winning customers by being greener. And then the final set, who are the most committed, who are willing to do it because they see it as a moral imperative. So I think there's that sort of interesting sliding scale.
So what is the real difference in jargon terms between carbon reduction and net zero?
Yeah, okay. So, the carbon reduction is just committing to stripping carbon out of the way, out of the results of what you do as an organization. Net zero is essentially trying to take that as far as you conceivably can, and then at the end saying, we can't do anything about these residual emissions. We're stuck with these. Our supply chain, the people that deliver our products or deliver our services to us, can't shift their carbon any further, and therefore we're stuck to it. For example, the council has to deliver tarmac-based roads that has carbon attached to it, and therefore the council has carbon. We use their services, we can't get rid of that, so we will simply offset that remainder by maybe committing to environmental projects somewhere else.
Yeah. So when you formed Greener Energy Futures, what was your intention of the business achieving? What was the purpose of the business?
Well, I think it's twofold, really. I think anybody recognises sitting here today that they're one of 7 billion people amongst all sorts of different systems. And so the intention was to create scalable action on the climate from two fronts, really. One, which is a much closer to home, was bringing in people and creating skills so that people individually could tackle it. So I've hired people over the last year who are fresh out of university, who have incredible skills and brains and enthusiasm, but need to be given something on their CV that says they've worked in the green economy, and to give them the first steps and tasters of that. And I brought in older people who are just pre-retirement, who have loads of experience to bring, but want to be able to contribute. And so that's one key part, skilling up people to help tackle the climate crisis, because we'll need lots of people to deal with this. And the second is to help organizations. So people, organizations of tens or hundreds of people, help them understand what they can do and create practical action. Those are the two real causes behind us.
Excellent. Yeah. Thanks, Simon. Now, let me remind our audience of your URL, your website, which obviously viewers can see on the screen behind me. But for listeners, let me spell that out. It's all the W's, greener energy futures.net. greenerenergyfutures.net. Now, my suggestion is that you go to Simon's site and watch the collection of videos he's recorded. The more information you can gain, the better is my thinking. In episode 2, I want to talk to Simon about taking your first steps on the sustainable journey, planning and action. But Simon, thanks for a great episode 1 of your trilogy.
Thank you.